that got paid on Sunday to my shock prior to the 4:25 p.m. kickoff in now Huntington Bank Field between the Dallas Cowboys and the Cleveland Browns. Dak Prescott got paid. Josh, we talked about this all offseason. I kept saying I don't think it was going to happen. And I was right until Sunday morning at about 11 a.m. Eastern time. And Jerry Jones decided to make Dak Prescott even more money than what Deshaun Watson got in his contract in Cleveland.
Yes, by I think it was literally $1 million. Um, but you know, I am equally, if not more, surprised than you. I thought Dak was gonna. I thought Dak was gonna go the entire season without a contract, kind of be on like this prove it kind of grind, if you will, and then be able to say to the Cowboys, "See, I am worth this new contract." Or he can say to the other 30, to the 31 other teams, like, "Hey, clearly Dallas doesn't want me. I'm available." Like, I thought that's how he was going to go about it, but no. So the only contract left is Micah Parsons.
So we had this conversation in probably late June, early July about Trevor Lawrence. We had the same conversation right before we went on our couple-week hiatus at the end of July about Jordan Love, Tua Tagovailoa. Dak Prescott, to me, is in that same component, which is he's a B to B plus quarterback who, with great talent around him and great coaching, on some weeks can look like an A minus to an A quarterback. But can Dak Prescott lead you to the promised land? And we talked about it, right? Trevor Lawrence got his deal. Jordan Love got his deal. Tua Tagovailoa got his deal. Dak was going to get more money per year than those guys. And we know the end of our salary cap is going to keep going up and up and up. And we know that obviously right now 60 million seems like a lot in 2 3 years. It probably won't look like that much again if they do what Andrew Berry and Co. in Cleveland have done with Watson's contract and manipulated the cap and put it mostly into a signing bonus. Um, my big thing here for Dallas is sort of the same thing with CeeDee Lamb. You knew you wanted to get this done. It's why you did not spend any money during the offseason besides Ezekiel Elliott and Eric Kendricks. Why wait this long? I guess it's a marketing ploy, first day of the new year. Hey, we got Dak signed. They had to cross some T's and dot some I's. He just signed it that Sunday morning. But for the life of me, I don't understand why you're waiting this long because you're only hurting yourself by paying him more money. And if your whole investment is CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, we assume Micah Parsons, but if you pay Micah what we think Mike is probably going to get, you're not going to be able to put a team around these guys.
Yeah. Um, and all we heard, what was the catchphrase we kept hearing all offseason from the Dallas Cowboys? It was 2 words. Do you remember?
Oh, I remember it vividly. All in.
Yes. And we all kept trying to figure out what all in meant. Did Jerry Jones mean all in on free agency? Did he mean all in on the draft? What did he mean? The way I interpreted that phrase was like, I'm not giving anybody a contract extension. I'm putting all my poker chips in the middle and I'm going all in. It's boom or bust for this team this season. But he seems to have gone back on that. So is Micah going to get his contract at some point this season? I don't know.
I don't suspect that they would do it during the season. It's very rare for a guy to get a contract extension in the middle of a season.
We shall see. I mean, Dallas looked pretty good against the Browns on Sunday. I don't want to say they looked great, because Deshaun Watson looked absolutely atrocious against the Cowboys. And I'll give credit to the Dallas defense, but at the same time, it's not like the Cowboys were doing anything special on defense. You know, Deshaun Watson and the offense as a whole just looked rattled. I don't know why. Because
Well,
the defense for the most part did their job. The defense for the most part did their job. The problem was they kept having to go out on the field because the offense would go 3-and-out, 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 3-and-out. Like, it felt like every time the offense would go out there, it's like, okay, they're just going to go 3-and-out.
I'll talk about the game a little more in depth in a couple of seconds when we get there. I'll just say this. Remember last year, Cowboys started off really hot, beat the brakes off the Giants week 1. Week 2, I believe they took about Zach Wilson and the New York Jets. And then what happened week 3? They lost to the Arizona Cardinals. So,
yeah, and they have the New Orleans Saints this week, and then they host the Baltimore Ravens.
All right, let's talk about your guy, Jordan Love. Obviously, what a weird game that was Friday night in Brazil. What is it with every big game the Eagles play? The turf is absolute trash. I don't have the answer for that. They're playing on a soccer field out there in Brazil. Very entertaining game, back and forth. Obviously, Green Bay's got a chance to win the game. Jordan Love goes for a Hail Mary. He is right next to Jalen Carter, who is on the ground. Jalen Carter does not dive for his knee.
He grabbed his knee, though, which
was
not
a dirty play. That was a football play.
You don't get to talk anymore.
Football play.
You don't get to talk anymore, sir.
That was a football play.
No, it wasn't.
That was a football play. That was a football play. That was a football play. We could do this for 7 hours. That was a football play. He is on the ground. He is not diving at him. He is grabbing at his leg to bring him to the ground. Jordan Love was still in the pocket. That was not at all a dirty play. You've never played football in your life, so you don't know what a dirty play is. That was not a dirty play.
Dirty play.
Talk to any NFL player. They'll tell you that was not a dirty play. Explain what was so dirty about it then, Josh.
Dude, he literally grabs a hold of his leg. And
yes, to bring him to the ground. And unfortunately, in his grasp, Jordan Love's knee pops. That's light. That's football.
To me, that's a dirty play.
How is it dirty? It's not like he is intentionally diving at his leg. He is grabbing. There is a difference.
I know he wasn't dive bombing because that would have been a penalty. I get that. But from my perspective, the way he grabbed his leg, it seemed like he was trying to injure him.
He was trying to get him on the ground.
Oh, God. I'm not even going to read Grandizer's latest comment in the live chat. But
okay. To answer the question on the screen, Malik Willis is the current Green Bay Packers starting quarterback. They have the Indianapolis Colts this weekend. I've already bet the Colts -3. Malik Willis is not an NFL quarterback unless he's coached by me in Madden NFL 25. Then he is an MVP candidate. But nonetheless, they have Indianapolis, they have Tennessee, and then they have Minnesota, who looked really good, albeit it was the Giants. But we both predicted Sam Darnold could have a good year in that system. In my opinion, if Jordan Love doesn't get back in 3 weeks, Green Bay's in trouble. I think they can survive this stretch right here, but he's got to be back in 3 weeks.
Yeah, they have Indianapolis, Tennessee, Minnesota, and then a huge game out in SoFi Stadium against the LA Rams. Jordan Love needs to be back for that game specifically. Not Not
By
to
the way, and if he does come back in that game, he's not going to be 100% in that game. It's going to take him 2, 3 more weeks to get back and in game shape and get that knee comfortable.
right. I agree with you, but I just think that game between the Packers and Rams is going to be huge for the NFC playoff picture because I believe you and I both have the Rams making the playoffs. You you do not have the Packers in. I do. Um,
I did not, and I'll tell you what, this is a big game because this was one of those go either way games on the schedule for me. I gave Green Bay the advantage at home. For me, is this a game that puts the Colts, from 9 to 10 wins and puts them in the playoffs?
yeah, I have the Colts in the playoffs, and they looked really good, albeit in a loss at home to
I
Houston.
mean, Anthony Richardson completed 9 passes. They were the most beautiful 9 completions I've ever seen somebody make in a football game, especially the
Yes.
one when he was falling back and hit Alec Pierce 60 yards in the air, complete on a rope. You can see the talent in him, obviously, and we know how brilliant Shane Steichen is. And their defensive line was actually getting a lot of pressure on Stroud. Now, Joe Mixon had a huge game. And I think that Green Bay is going to have to rely on that running game and Josh Jacobs, who got going a little bit in the second half against that Philly defense. He had the one long run. But I'll be honest, Josh, and this is where you and I are going to differ, of course, again. I know you're going to call me crazy, but I wasn't impressed by Jordan Love when he did play Friday night. I didn't think he played that well. 50% completion percentage. I thought Jaron Reed had a couple of big plays, obviously, but there was a couple throws. There was one where he didn't slip, and for whatever reason, he just dirted the ball on the ground. It was a play action pass. It was early in the second half. They had Jaron Reed over the middle, and he just dirted it. Um, you could tell that the Eagles' defensive line was starting to get a lot of weight in the game. I thought he got a little bit of skittish in the pocket. And let's be honest, Philly had the 2 bad mistakes to start the game, the horrible interception by Hurts, followed by the missed snap by the new center Cam Urges. And Green Bay comes away from that situation with only 2 field goals. So is that Green Bay's offense? Is that Philly's defense making a stand? We don't know, but Green Bay is going to have to get the red zone corrected.
Yeah. Um, no, I won't say you're crazy in this case. Yeah, I'm a huge Jordan Love fan, but in this case, no, he didn't look great on Friday night against the Eagles. I'll give you that. I think he'll be better when once he gets back. But I also agree with what you said earlier that it will take him a couple weeks to get back to being fully healthy. But here's what I'm wondering. Do the Packers maybe try calling Ryan Tannehill to come in and take over as
There's speculation out there. Here's what I'll say. And whether it's gamesmanship or not by Matt LaFleur, I don't know. But he has yet to rule out Jordan Love for this coming up game against Indianapolis. I think if they knew Jordan Love was going to be out for the full 6 weeks, they would call Ryan Tannehill. I think the fact that they have not, by all intents and purposes, called him again, LaFleur has not fully ruled him out yet for Sunday, tells me I think they think 3 weeks is sort of the max for this injury, and they are going to try to get him back maybe by the Minnesota game.
so if it turns out that Malik Willis is the starting quarterback for this Sunday against the Colts, do you think the Packers have to completely change their offense?
Well, Malik Willis has started 3 games in his NFL career and has yet to throw for 100 yards. I think that answers your question.
Fair enough. Because, you got talented wide receivers in this at the skill
Well,
position
that's
group.
what you say. The only one I saw on Friday night who showed up was Sharon Reed. Did any of those tight ends play? I didn't see him. Watson made one nice catch. He had another touchdown opportunity. He slipped in the back of the end zone. I didn't even see Romeo Dobbs out there. I think he was playing against ghosts because he didn't even exist.
Okay. Okay. That's how they played on Friday against the Eagles. How did they play at the end of down the stretch at the end of last season,
I
though.
keep telling you, that was last year. That's not this year. The NFL is not linear.
Okay, fair. But you still have to take that into account.
Well, do I? Because I watched a Green Bay team who, again, yes, they looked good in spurts offensively, but they looked part, especially in that second quarter through the end of the third quarter, they looked like the Green Bay from the first half of last year. And not only that, let me add this on the Green Bay defense side of the ball, because this is something nobody talked about. I don't know if you want to say give credit to Philly's offense or discount Green Bay's defense, but the Eagles had the ball at the start of the fourth quarter with 8 minutes to go in that game. The Green Bay Packers did not get the ball back until 27 seconds left in that game. And the only reason why they got the ball back is because Jalen Hurts and Cam Burgess had another missed snap on the brotherly shove. If they do not get a missed handle on that snap, Philadelphia runs the clock out. Now, Green Bay also does cover in that scenario, but Philly would run the clock out, and Green Bay would have went 8 straight minutes without getting the ball back, and Jordan Love would have never gotten hurt.
I mean, it's all a bunch of shoulda, woulda, coulda in that
Well,
situation.
my point is, Green Bay's defense was out there for 8 straight minutes, and they could not stop the run. That is not a week one, we'll fix it. That is a concern.
I do agree with you on that. Yes, I'm high on the Packers, but I'm also going to be realistic. I'm not going to be like the Packers were perfect on Friday.
Listen, all I'm saying is some people picked this team to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm not going that far.
I didn't see it. You were higher on Green Bay last year than I was. I was really high on them. If you remember, in January, I picked them to at least cover against Dallas. I said, I don't think they're going to win, but I said if there's going to be one upset this weekend, it's going to be Green Bay. And then when they did it, I gave them a great chance to beat San Francisco, and they had them until Jordan Love threw the game away.
Right. But we're going to find out now what type of coach Matt LaFleur is. But let me give credit to your Philadelphia Eagles for the way they played in the game on Friday. Because they came out and just said, we're going to run the ball right down your throats, and you're not going to be able to stop us. They just kept running it over and over and over again with Saquon Barkley. I know you guys got Devontae and A.J. Brown involved. Don't get me wrong. Like, your passing game was still there. But just from watching that game, it's clear to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you're more of an Eagles fan than I am, but from my perspective, it looks like the Eagles want to be a run-first team this season.
I don't think it's run-first. I think it's going to be 50-50. I think it's what the situation called for was we're going to rely on our offensive line and just bully. Now, for the record, I thought Jalen Hurts made 3 bad decisions. One of them should have been a pick 6. 2 of them were picks. So if you go back and watch the second interception, the one Jair picked off in the end zone, A.J. Brown was actually open. He slips on the turf. If you watch the All-22, wasn't as bad as it looked on TV. But again, I thought Jalen was at least a little more comfortable offensively. I loved the more motion with Kellen Moore. Get him under center, a little bit more pistol, more motion, get the ball out of your hands, and have answers to the blitz. That was the most encouraging sign I saw all Friday night from my team. They had answers to the blitz. Jalen Hurts was comfortable with it. When the Green Bay sent the blitz, he was on time and accurate. And again, they turned the ball over twice in their own zone the first 10 minutes of the game. They still ended up with 34 points.
Yeah. Again, like I said, you're more of an Eagles fan than I am, so I understand why you're saying it's going to be more 50-50. But it looked like this is just from my perspective, it looks like they want to be a run-first team. We'll see how that goes throughout the season if it does become more 50-50 like you said. But, man, I can't wait to see what Saquon looks like back in Lincoln Financial Field on Monday night against Atlanta.